This is the Pocket Presence Podcast. I'm Alec, covering the NFL from the pocket to the playoffs. On today's show, you will get the year and my game picks. Why don't we hop right in and share the screen and get to the mock draft here in a second? How is everybody's Thursday going? Please, in the comments, let me know what you think about the streaming service I'm using for YouTube now, Restream. We will be getting to the mock draft in 2 seconds. So the Jets have the first pick, and they need a quarterback. I don't know which quarterback to give them, Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore. I think I'm going to go with Fernando Mendoza. The Dolphins are on the clock, and they also need a QB. And here's my first bold move of this mock draft. I think Ty Simpson, and I know you've seen me critique him numerous times on my show, on my 2 college football podcasts I have, but I think Ty Simpson could be a top 5 pick. The Saints have the third pick. And now, yes, I like Spencer, but I think the Saints need to go defensive line here and keep getting younger on the defensive line. And with that being said, I think they take defensive lineman out of Clemson, Peter Woods. The Titans have pick 4. And the Titans have their franchise quarterback. I think they're either going to go wide receiver here in the first round or offensive line. And there is some decently good offensive line. Spencer Fano, Francis Mayanello, Lamo, Isaiah World. I am going to give the Titans offensive lineman out of Utah, Spencer Fano. I think Spencer Fano is a good fit here for the Titans. Like I said, they need some offensive lineman help. Offensive lineup. They got Peter Skoronski. They got other offensive lineman, but you can't up that offensive line. And Fano can play tackle and guard. So if you want to swing Fano inside, you can. At 5, the Ravens. They need another wide receiver. And this is where the first wide receiver goes. And it is not going to be Jordan Tyson. It's not going to be Mekhi Lemon. I think Carnell Tate is the wide receiver 1 in this draft. I know he's the number 2 at Ohio State behind Jeremiah Smith. But to me, he is the number 1 receiver in this draft. And the Ravens need a number 2 wide receiver behind Zay Flowers. And if they choose to go receiver, they could go Carnell Tate. But I also think they might go defense. And I could see corner, but I think it's a little too early for a cornerback. I could also see them going offensive line and taking offensive lineman Caden Proctor from Alabama. And that's who I have them taking at number 5. The Browns at 6. I I think the Browns, and I know Browns fans are not going to like this. I think there's a chance that the Browns pass on quarterback in the 2026 draft and give Dylan Gabriel a whole year to try to develop. And then if it doesn't work, because he was a third round pick this past draft, then if it doesn't work, then maybe in 2027, when Arch comes out, if he does, then they go quarterback. But they do need help along the offensive line. And if you want your quarterback to be upright, you need to get a franchise tackle. And I see Francis Noah sitting on the board. Yes, at number 6. And I think that's the perfect fit for the Browns because we don't know, is Kevin Stefanski still going to be the coach next year? We know Andrew Berry's probably going to still be the GM. Whoever the coach is, he's going to say, look, I want to give Dylan Gabriel an opportunity to be our quarterback. But we need to get offensive line. And I think taking a guy like Francis Mayanoa is the perfect fit for the Browns. The Raiders, they have Geno Smith, they have Cam Miller. But I think, and I know he's the one that he stayed out of the entire draft last year, other than handpicking Cam Miller. And I think Geno gets benched at some point this year. I don't know. I actually have them taking wide receiver out of USC, Mekhi Lemon, because I like Trey Tucker, I like Jack Bash, and I like Dante Thornton. I like those 3 guys, but they need another receiver. And I think taking Mekhi Lemon in the first round will be beneficial to them for whoever the quarterback ends up being in 2026 for the Raiders. The Giants at 8. I also have them taking wide receiver. And I think they're going to take, because they need another receiver to pair with Malik Neighbors and Jackson Dart. And it's not going to be Carnell Tate. I don't think Carnell Tate's going to fall outside the top 15, though. I think they're going to take wide receiver Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. You got Malik Neighbors, who knows the whole route, who can run the whole route tree. Jordan Tyson can too, but I see Jordan Tyson being that over the middle kind of guy, 10 to 15 yards, where Malik Neighbors can run his slants, corner routes, out routes, post routes, and Jordan Tyson's the underneath guy. The Cardinals at number 9 are going to take a defensive back. They took Will Johnson in the second round last year. I think Jonathan Gannon wants to keep building up this defense. And we saw, like I said, they took Will Johnson last year in the draft. I think they're going to double down and take another defensive back. And it's going to be Jermod McCoy, physical, lengthy corner from Tennessee. The Texans at 10 are going to take, they need to work on offensive line too. Interior. See, the thing is, there's not really that many offensive linemen left. So they might go. I'm going to have the Texans going safety in this situation. And you look in the best safety on the board is Caleb Downs, who could have gone in the top 5, but he has slipped to 10, and I think that's where his drop ends, is with Caleb Downs going at 10 to the Houston Texans. They need help on defense. You saw they cut CJ Gardner-Johnson because of his antics off the field. And I think they wanted to get younger there as well. And getting younger there means maybe taking a shot on a guy that is a first-round pick and Caleb Downs. At 11, the Cincinnati Bengals. I am going to have them taking not a guy on offense, even though they do need offensive line. Every 2 weeks, I will be doing a new mock draft until the end of the season. I have the Bengals taking edge out of Miami, of Florida, Ruben Bain. Think that the Bengals need to realize that Trey Hendrickson's probably gone after this year. There's no way to give him a long-term contract. And Ruben Bain is a perfect pick for them. The Commanders at number 12. This is where I think they're going to also take a secondary guy because they have Emmanuel Forbes. He's not really, he's still not polished. I like cornerback out of LSU, former Virginia Tech corner, Mansour Delane. I got to watch him in person last year when he was at Virginia Tech. When they played Marshall, the kid, he's physical. He doesn't give up a lot of receptions. And I feel like he would fit with the Commanders really well. The Dallas Cowboys at 12. Correction, 13. Cowboys at 13. They've taken offensive line the last 2 years in the first round. I think they need to start looking at the defensive side of the football here. And they just lost Micah Parsons. And I know what people are going to say. Oh, you're going to have to take Caleb Banks, defensive lineman out of Florida. That's a reach. Maybe it is. Christian Miller. I am actually going to go with linebacker because I do think the Cowboys also need the linebacker position. They haven't had consistent play at linebacker since Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch. And I see a guy in Arvell Reese. And as most of you know, I am an Ohio State fan. So I watch a lot of Ohio State games. And Arvell Reese just, you try not to see him on tape. And he has a lot of pop plays on tape that stick out. And I feel like he'd fit the Dallas Cowboys system perfectly. So give me Arvell Reese at number 13 to the Cowboys. The Rams at 14. We have had one quarterback go so far. I think the Rams take a quarterback here at number 14 to put behind Matthew Stafford because Matthew Stafford's probably gone within the next 2 seasons. And I don't think it's going to be John Batier. I think it's going to be somebody that needs a little more polish. And that guy is going to be Lenore Sellers out of South Carolina. Give me Lenore Sellers to the Rams at 14 to sit behind Stafford and learn for a year or two, and then he takes over the offense. We got the Vikings at 16, 15. And the Vikings do not need quarterback. this is where you could say maybe they take a chance on a guy like, I'm going to give them defensive line. I think they need to start looking ahead. Danielle Hunter's not getting, their defensive line's not getting any younger. Let's put it like it is. Their D line is not getting any younger. And I think they can take a swing on a guy like Caleb Banks in the first round with their first round pick, which right now sits at 15 to the Vikings to help that pass rush. It gets youth in the building. The Panthers at 16. I really like Bryce Young, but I feel like the Panthers are failing him, but I want to give him another shot. So I'm going to have the Carolina Panthers take an offensive lineman. And it's going to be offensive tackle Caleb Lemieux out of Utah. Very good pass blocker. Needs a little work in the run game. But yeah, I feel like he will fit well with that young offensive line the Panthers are trying to build. Ike Ekwonu. And now Caleb Lemieux. The Chiefs at number 17. Again, they're another team not getting younger on the defensive side of the ball. And Chris Jones isn't getting any younger. They do need help at corner, but I think that can wait till like the second or third round of the draft. I'm going to give them Keldrick Falk out of Auburn. I like I said, Chris Jones isn't getting any younger. They got some other guys who are getting up there in age. So you can either give them edge or what tight ends are there? Or you could give them do you really want to give them Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon to replace Travis Kelce? I don't think you do. So that's where Kedrick Falk ends up going, is to the Chiefs. The Bears at 8. I like them taking an edge rusher. They need more help along the edge. They are getting good pressure on quarterbacks, but I think they need to get young. They need to keep drafting pass rushers. And I have them taking David Bailey out of Texas Tech. This man's putting up numbers this year for Texas Tech's defense. On coming off the edge, sacking quarterbacks, pressuring quarterbacks, getting QB hurries, getting QB hits. And I really like it. And I think he would fit the Chargers at number 19. I have them taking linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. I think Harbaugh wants to keep building that defense, and the only way to do it is by drafting, and their linebackers have been, I think they need to get somebody that can be the next face of the linebacker room for the Chargers, and I feel like that is Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. Watched a lot of tape on this man. He's good sideline to sideline. He's beyond serviceable in coverage. Good tackler. The only thing is discipline. I think he needs to be taught discipline a little bit. And I feel like on the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh, he would fit right in. The Browns at 20. We had them take a offensive lineman earlier. Now we are going to have them take linebacker, our third wide receiver off the board. And it's not going to be, it's going to be Denzel Boston out of Washington. Big body receiver. It says his fit is the Patriots. I will be giving the Patriots a wide receiver. You'll see which wide receiver in a little bit. But I feel like Denzel Boston's the better fit here for the Browns because they're going to, Jerry Jeudy's probably gone within the next couple of years. And then who do you really have behind him? Cedric Tillman, Jamari Thrash. Those are guys, I mean, I trust Cedric Tillman. Don't know enough. We haven't seen enough tape on a guy like Jamari Thrash. They did take Harold Fannin in the draft this past year. But I feel like Denzel Boston adds another element to that pass game for the Browns. The Bills at 21 are going to take cornerback. Yes, they need corner. They're going to take Avion Terrell out of Clemson. Lanky, physical corner. And as you see, the Bills defense is getting shredded. And I feel like if they take a corner, they need to in the first round. And then they could, if they don't feel like they have a number one receiver, they could take that in like the second or third round. The Seahawks at number 22 are going to take edge TJ Parker out of Clemson. So back-to-back Clemson players go with these next two picks. The thing about TJ Parker is he's a really good pass rusher, and I like the fit with the Seahawks. The Rams are back on the clock again at 23, and I feel like giving them more help on the defensive line. At edge, and I'm going to give the Oregon's edge rusher, the younger brother of DJ Uiagalelei. Mateo, he's projected to go at 25. He's going 2 picks early. Nothing to really say there. The Lions at 24 are also going to take edge because they need to help out their superstar, Aiden Hutchinson. And LT Overton is sitting here on the board. And Dan Campbell and the defensive coordinator for the Lions would give the card to, they would tell to the podium and make the pick. LT Overton to the Lions. The Steelers at 25 are going to take quarterback. This is where Dante slide ends. At 20, Steelers take Dante Moore out of Oregon. And the reason Dante Moore to me has fallen this far is he's inconsistent and he's not polished yet. He still has some things he needs to work on, and I think the Steelers could find like a band-aid quarterback for a year and have. I know they took Will Howard last year, but I think he's a developmental project, and they want somebody that can step in right away and start, and I think Dante Moore is that guy. At 26, the Broncos are going to take offensive lineman Isaiah World out of Oregon. Bo Nix is still getting sacked. He doesn't have enough time in the pocket to throw. And Garrett, don't get me wrong, Garrett Bowles has been really good this year. But on the other side, they need help on the offensive line, and I feel like Isaiah World is the perfect fit. The Buccaneers at number 27 are going to take that's too early. Linebacker, and this is it all depends on what Levante David decides to do after the season. If the Buccaneers win another Super Bowl, Levante David's probably going to retire. And so the pick here is linebacker Sonny Styles. And the fit for him is the Buccaneers. So this works perfectly. Sonny Styles to the Buccaneers. Again, I said this earlier about a couple other Ohio State guys that went, but Sonny Styles is one of the best linebackers in college football. And he's the second linebacker from Ohio State to go in this draft. The Eagles at number 28 are going to take I don't know. Connor Lew, interior offensive lineman Auburn. The Eagles need to keep taking young offensive linemen because their offensive line, Lane Johnson's not getting any younger. Jaden Mailata's not getting any younger. I just named you two offensive linemen right there from the Eagles that are not getting. They're on the wrong side of 30. So I'm gonna have them taking Connor Lew out of Auburn. The Patriots at 29 are going to take wide receiver Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. Carnell Tate was supposed to go in the top 20, and he made it all the way to 28. And the Patriots, Mike Vrabel would give that card immediately to Roger Goodell and say, "Make the pick. Don't let Carnell Tate go any further." So with the 28th pick, the New England Patriots are going to select out of The Ohio State University wide receiver Carnell Tate. At 30, the 49ers are going to select another wide receiver, Jacoby Lane out of USC. I like Ricky Pearsall, but they don't is your number 2 right now. And he's going to be looking for a nice big payday. He's probably going to leave in free agency. So give me Jacoby Lane to the 49ers. The Cowboys. So the Cowboys took a defensive lineman or a linebacker earlier. Now the Cowboys at 31 are going to take another defensive player. I'm going to give them edge Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M. And they need, like I said, they need to work on building this defense back up after getting rid of one of the best edge rushers in football and a trade they got fleeced in and Micah Parsons. And not Cassius Howell could be the next Micah Parsons. Who knows? And then to round out the mock, the Colts at 32 are going to take safety. No, they're not. Is there the edge? Ooh, this is. They're going to take linebacker CJ Allen from Georgia. Again, another guy that can move laterally, sideline to sideline, gets up the field, good at pass coverage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here are my NFL picks for this week. Teams on bye: the Cardinals, Raiders, Rams, Seahawks, Jags, Lions. We start with Thursday Night Football. The Vikings go to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. I am going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers. I just like how the Chargers have been playing lately. And then we get to Sunday, Dolphins, Falcons. Give me the Falcons. The Dolphins are horrible. Ravens and Bears. I really wanted to take the Bears here to pull the upset, but the Ravens get Lamar Jackson back, and I just don't see a way the Ravens are losing this game with Lamar back. Panthers and Bills, easy. Give me the Bills. Bengals and Jets, give me the Bengals to win. 49ers and Titans, 49ers. Browns, Patriots, give me the Patriots. Eagles and Giants. I think the Eagles get their revenge this week on the Giants from 2 weeks ago. Buccaneers and Saints. Buccaneers are going to bounce back after that atrocious game against the Lions on Monday Night Football, but they're going to have to do it without the services of Mike Evans, who's out for the rest of the regular season. Broncos and Cowboys. I am taking the Broncos in this game. And then we get Colts and Titans. Give me the Colts, the 6-1 Colts. I didn't think I'd say that at the beginning of the season. Steelers and Packers. A revenge game for Aaron Rodgers. Give me the Steelers to beat the Packers. And on Monday Night Football, we got the Commanders and the Chiefs. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Washington Commanders. The Commanders will not have Jaden Daniels. Top line NFL takes. Always in the pocket. I'm Alec. Signing off. That'll do it for today's show. I will see everybody back here on Tuesday for 2 college football podcast episodes. One of the variety of the podcast, and then one at 30 with the Saturday Night Lights podcast. Until then, I'm out.